the social pariah turned messiah. I am the misfit that doesn't know when to quit. I am the man without a plan. And in case you haven't heard, I always, and I mean always, have the last word. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Last Word Royal Rumble 2018 review. If you check my channel here on Chocobo Chokeslam, you'll see 3 live reaction videos from last night. I did one for the Men's Rumble, for the Universal title match, and for the Women's Rumble. Overall, I would say this was a good show last night. It had a couple flaws, but phenomenal start to 2018. I'm hoping they can keep it going. You can kind of hear I sound a little congested, my throat's a little hoarse. Woke up not feeling too hot today, and then to make matters worse, I spent about an hour and 15 minutes recording this podcast earlier, and then found out my audio didn't record, so I'm a little pissed off today. But hey, let's have some fun here. I'll try to keep this short and sweet. Pre-show had 3 matches. I'm not going to go into great details, because again, they're pre-show matches. None of them were anything super crazy to brag home about. The first one was a 6-man cruiserweight match with Grand Metalik, Sin Cara, and guy I can't remember his name, Lucien Andrade or something, generic luchador number 3 basically. And then you had them going against Jack Gallagher, TJP, and Drew Gulak. Decent match. I really do like Drew Gulak. TJP ate the pin. I've always liked Jack Gallagher, so kudos. It was a good match. It was a great opening, keep the crowd pacified match, so nothing special, but nothing bad. The same went with the second match, which was the Good Brothers versus the Revival. The Revival ended up using some nice teamwork to do a chop block to, I think it was Gallows' knee, and they rolled him up for the pin. Assuming nobody gets hurt, that should be a nice rivalry that they build on over the next couple months. And then, of course, we had the open challenge from Bobby Roode. The match itself wasn't anything bad or anything great. It was, what the hell's his name? Mojo Rawley. We've seen this already. It was just a filler match. Okay. My original prediction for the Rumble was that the final was going to take place, so I was wrong there. But thankfully, I was right on a bunch of other predictions, which I'll get into. But Mojo came out, they had their match. There was a clunky finish where it looked like it was supposed to be the Glorious DDT off the ropes, but Mojo didn't take it properly, so it looked like a very regular, generic DDT. Which honestly made Mojo look bad because he just got laid out by a standard DDT. Again, we're going back to the DDT, just a regular DDT was Jake and Snake Roberts' finisher. The Glorious DDT is essentially a jumping DDT. Mojo kind of failed to follow the momentum of the maneuver and just kind of came down like a regular DDT. It looked clunky, but the match was okay. The highlight of the pre-show for me was a great package or interview rather, with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Owens just kept giving the announcers a hard time. It was a lot of fun. And there was a Rusev Day promo, which the crowd marked out hardcore to. And they did that throughout the night. In the Rumble match itself, I'll get to that, both Rusev and Aiden English were in the Rumble, and both got Rusev Day chants, and so did Lana, who was in the Women's Rumble match. I'm amazed at how over Rusev is right now, and the whole Rusev Day thing is. Whether the WWE likes it or not, Rusev Day is not going anywhere. Alright, so we had our 3 pre-show matches, and again, they pulled a Royal Rumble-esque, not as bad, but they started the pre-show at like 5, did a lot of talking and hype packages and build-up from 5 to 6, and then they had, the matches from 6 to 7, maybe like 5:30, I think, was the Cruiserweight match. The one thing I'm going to complain about in the pre-show, stop cutting the commercials during the match. It's not SmackDown Live. You don't need to cut the commercials in the middle of a match and ruin momentum, especially when you're trying to showcase some of these guys. And they did it for all 3 matches, and it just was irritating. Now, the main show, and this was the one that was interesting to a lot of people, and I know I got good reaction out of my friends on Facebook and then on just people on Twitter that I was talking with throughout the night. We opened up with the WWE title match, which took me by surprise. I was expecting one of the tag team title matches, not one of the main titles. But it was Zayn and Owens versus AJ. This was a really good match. This is definitely, the whole pay-per-view is worth watching. There's 2 matches I'll get into that are kind of like give or take, but they weren't bad. They just weren't great. One was really because of when it took place rather than the match itself, and the other was they rushed it. I guess because they both centered around the Men's Rumble match. But a lot of back and forth with AJ, Zayn, and Owens. At the start of the match, Sammy and Kevin kept tagging in and out like they didn't start the match. They just were messing with AJ. Finally, AJ got between the two of them to force them to start fighting. A really nice spot where Kevin hit a cannonball in the corner ropes, and then when he flung AJ countered that and did a Hurricanrana on Sami Zayn. The whole sequence looked amazing. There was a spot where basically AJ Styles got the calf crusher on Kevin Owens, and Zayn came in for the save. AJ countered a pop-up powerbomb into a roll-up pin. What ended up happening here, though, was there was a tag to Owens from Sammy that never actually happened. What happened is AJ had Sammy up. Sammy went to make the tag, and it was one of these like, well, let's pretend we forget how to tag or how arms work, because it was clearly close enough. So it was supposed to be like the tag just missed, like their fingers just missed. It was awkward looking, but in context of the story for the match, it worked. And then Zayn gets knocked out of the ring, and Owens comes in to help, to capitalize. He tries to hit AJ at the pop-up powerbomb. AJ counters it, rolls Kevin up, and gets the win. Perfect. It wasn't a clean finish. The tag clearly didn't happen, so it continues the storyline, and it builds upon, and I'll get to this in a second, it builds upon the Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan storyline, which, okay, after the match, we cut backstage where Kevin and Sammy are losing it, and they're going off on Shane, like, look, you can't have the refs screw us again, this isn't right. And, you saw it, right? And Shane basically just laughs at him. Yeah, I saw it, laughs, and walks away. No Daniel Bryan to be found, which was weird. I was hoping Daniel Bryan would have been there, just even if it cut back to the in-ring action, you just had him and Shane arguing. But no, you just had Shane kind of mock Kevin and Sammy, and their loss to AJ, and then we moved on to the next match. So this really set up to what's the payoff going to be, what's the fallout going to be here Tuesday night. So good job with storytelling. Based on what we're going to get into at the Rumble, the future is not going to be AJ, Kevin, and Sammy. I'm assuming that that's going to kind of get tossed aside to further the Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon feud. But the second match, like I said, a little congested today, so bear with me. I'm going to try to be short. Second match was a SmackDown Live Tag Team title match. It was a 2 out of 3 fall between the Usos and American Beta, which of course is Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable. The first 15 minutes or so of this match, 10-15 minutes, were amazing. A lot of false finishes, a lot of back and forth. Really good match. And then basically the Usos managed to get their triple team super kick deal that they do, where the guy's on their knees and they kick in the front, and then each one takes a turn kicking from each side. So they just super kicked Chad Gable into oblivion, pinned him, got pinfall number 1. And then not too long into the after that in the match, they got a cheap roll-up on Shelton Benjamin to get the second pin. Really good 15-20 minutes with a lot of near misses and a lot of close finishes. Really exciting. And then the end kind of got rushed. And I don't know if they were told right before the match they had to cut a certain amount of time off, or if this was the intended finish. But it was rushed. It wasn't bad. The Usos are an amazing heel tag team. American Beta is not bad. as much as Chad Gable to me kind of lacks a lot of personality, this particular feud seemed to be developing good personality for him, including a backstage segment during the pre-show where Shelton Benjamin and Gable and Jason Jordan kind of were ragging on each other. Where Chad Gable basically looks at him and goes, "How's that singles career treating you?" Where because Jason's wearing the SmackDown Raw Tag Team Gold, and Shelton Benjamin looks at Chad after Jason Jordan leaves and goes, "You used to partner with that loser?" So it was funny, and it did a really good job of kind of jabbing at each other and cementing that inevitable heel turn for Jason Jordan. But so again, quick, short. Quick for a 3-fall. You almost always have when it's a best out of 3, they split pins, and then the winner obviously gets their win. You almost never see an instant, back-to-back pinfall. So it just definitely felt rushed. Great match, just stupid finish. Way too rushed, way too short. This should have been a longer match. And again, I don't know if, you had 2 Rumbles during this pay-per-view, so I think there are a lot of things in the middle were cut or, condensed for time's sake, so this didn't do either tag team justice, in my opinion. It was a good match, so this is one I'll say watch too, because for the wrestling we got, it was great. We just didn't get enough of it. And then, whoa boy, we had the Royal Rumble match itself. And this was probably one of the better men's Rumbles matches in a long time. I would have to say probably the best in the 2010s, in my humble opinion. We didn't have Randy Orton, John Cena, or Roman Reigns win the Royal Rumble, so that already makes it great. But there was a lot of great things that happened in here. A couple NXT guys made their debuts, and that was Cien Almas and Adam Cole. Cien Almas looked amazing. Actually was in the final 6. But we had a couple former NXT guys really showcased tonight. The big one was, of course, Finn Balor. He was number 2 in the ring and was part of the final 4. And Shinsuke Nakamura, or if you haven't seen the Rumble, any of the reports or anything, or live under a rock, Shinsuke won the Royal Rumble. And watch my reaction video. I marked out hardcore for that. But, so we had Rusev Day. So Rusev came out first. Aiden English sung him out to the ring, which was funny. And the crowd was marked hard for Rusev, chanting Rusev Day the whole time. Finn was in number 2. And again, Finn was number 2 and got about 57 minutes in. Didn't quite hit the hour mark, but pretty damn close. It was Rhino number 3 and Baron Corbin number 4, and then Heath Slater number 5. And that 3, 4, and 5 sequence was funny. Corbin came in and got eliminated almost instantly and took it out on the opponents in the ring, so they're all out. They weren't officially eliminated, which just set up for number 6. But when Heath Slater came out, they were in the middle of getting Corbin to leave ringside. He just lays out Heath Slater. So Heath Slater is just a mess on the ground on the ramp there. And then Elias comes out at number 6, and it's hysterical. He's strumming his guitar, looks down at Heath, kicks him and rolls him down the ramp, gets in the ring and is singing and doing his thing. And he got interrupted. I believe number 7 was Cien Almas. And again, I want to walk with you, Elias. I'm hoping you get put in that proper package with John Cena and we can get a really good feud and get you put over. Don't know what route they're going with him yet, but the guy's great. And so Cien Almas, as I said, he debuted, was amazing. They called him the NXT champion, came out with the NXT title. Again, he was number 7 and was around the final 6 or 7 wrestlers, so he was great. Number 8, I believe, was... Nope, I don't remember who number 8 or 9 were. Number 10, Ty Dillinger's music hit. So you get the 10, 10, 10, and the crowd chanting 10. And you don't see Ty. It cuts backstage, and Owens and Zayn are beating the hell out of him. Zayn taps Owen on the shoulder and goes, "I got this." And he takes Dillinger's place in the Rumble. I'm hoping this leads into a feud between, Dillinger and one of the two. I'm assuming Zayn would be more on par as far as a feud. Needless to say, Sami Zayn did not get the job done. But we had probably the funniest moment early on. We're still at like 10, 11, and Heath Slater's still not in the ring. We're wondering if he's going to break Curtis Axel's record for the longest time in the Rumble match and without being in the Rumble match. Eliminated without being eliminated. But Sheamus comes out, does the nice guy thing, rolls Slater into the ring, and then as Sheamus is climbing in, Slater gets up, runs into ropes, and clotheslines Sheamus over the ropes to eliminate him. I laughed for a good 30 seconds at that. It was perfect. And then like a couple seconds later, Slater got eliminated, so it just paid dividends. It was funny. Again, we got Sheamus in the match. Cesaro was in there. Rollins was in the match, but no Jason Jordan. So that kind of plays into the storyline of their match afterwards. But all three members of the New Day made it in. Kofi Kingston came through again with his save. What he ended up doing was when he got eliminated, he landed on both members of the New Day, so his feet never touched the ground. Big E pulled out a plate of pancakes from under the ring for some reason, and Kofi was, hopping on one foot and then standing on pancakes and got his way back into the ring. So Kofi was saved by pancakes, only to then be eliminated a couple seconds later, so it was all pointless, but it was hilarious. And this happened later on in the women's match, too, with another athlete. Now, Shinsuke came out number 14, and it was nice. My prediction was he was going to win it because this was going to be how they were going to undo the horrible booking for the last 10 months or so that they've done on him. Like, they just, as soon as he came up after Mania last year, they screwed the pooch on how they booked him completely. Last night fixed all of that, and I have to give WWE credit where it's due. You properly booked somebody for a change. Good job. But Shinsuke came in at 14. Obviously, he won. But he wasn't super dominant. It wasn't like he threw out 10 guys. He held his own, took a beating, gave a beating. Just competitive, really nice match. The announcers did a great job of not giving away that he was the one that was going to win. So, good on them. Matt and Bray both made their way into the ring. There was a moment where they were trying to fight and people kept hitting them. So they teamed up to clear basically... they didn't eliminate anybody, I don't think. And they might have one person. But they cleared the ring, knocked everybody down. Everybody's in the corner. And then they go at it for a couple seconds and they clothesline each other over the ropes and then fight up the ramp backstage. So my prediction there was correct, that it was going to be just a way to further their story. And Matt Hardy won further last night on Twitter when he made a comment about being enamored by the vessel that is Sister Abigail, and that he must delete her. I'm looking forward to whatever they end up doing with these two guys. I said it earlier when I recorded it, so I'll say it again. The final deletion was an amazing concept with Matt. For as dumb as it was executed, the whole House of Horrors match last year at Mania was intense. It got dumb as it got in the ring, which it's not Bray's fault. That's the WWE's fault. I'm just thinking... The projector, man, that was so stupid. Oh my goodness, that was so stupid. How am I supposed to be scared that you projected snakes onto the ring? Even if they were rubber snakes, because you wouldn't know that as they're falling. Have snakes fall from the sky into the ring. That was 2 seconds of thought and that was better. But let Matt and let Bray take their crazy stuff. Give them free reign. Let them orchestrate something. Because the kind of the WWE equivalent to the final deletion was that match with the New Day last year where they fought at the Wyatt compound. That was well executed. Let Bray be Bray, let Matt be Matt, and let them put something together for Mania. Because that should be fun. And I'm hoping at the end of this, Matt ends up teaming up, joining the Woken Universe, Woken Army, whatever's going to be called at the end of the day, and just have Matt and Bray working together. I think that would be amazing, but time will tell. Alright, so one other notable one that came out. Number 27 was the little short guy, Rey Mysterio. Dude still looks jacked, still looks great for being gone as he's been and how old he is. Dude's amazing. There was a great spot towards the end where it was 6 guys left. It was you had basically the old guard in one side, the new guard in the other side, and I do the quotations because I don't consider Roman Reigns new guard. But you had Roman, Shinsuke, and Finn, and then you had Cena, Mysterio, and Orton. And eventually it ends up being just Cena, Reigns, Finn, and Shinsuke. What was amazing was both Reigns and Cena just attacked and knocked down Finn and Shinsuke. They're both in the corner recovering. And, they start doing their "you can't see me," and then Roman, the "I'm the dog," or "it's my yard," whatever his dumbass phrase is. And they both take turns pointing at the WrestleMania signs, And what was great was, and I don't know if they just didn't realize what they zoomed in on, but as these two are going, I'm assuming that they're expecting the crowd to be all hot for it. It's Philadelphia. They are the worst fan base to deal with. They threw... they assaulted Santa Claus during an Eagles game years ago. And if you were in Minnesota for the Vikings and Eagles game, they could tell you how rowdy Philadelphia crowd is. So we got exactly what we wanted out of that crowd last night. When Cena and Reigns were the only two kind of getting attention, the crowd kept chanting, "You both suck," and they would not stop. Even with turning the crowd mics down, you can still clearly hear it on the broadcast. They got a close-up of a dude flipping both of them off as they're chanting it. Once Finn Balor got eliminated by Cena, the crowd was 110% behind Shinsuke. Everyone and their mother was chanting Nakamura. Eventually, Cena got eliminated, and it left Shinsuke and Roman. And the two of them, and I mean this sincerely, had a hell of a wrestling match in the ring before Shinsuke finally eliminated Roman to win the Royal Rumble. And then immediately, upon being interviewed, issue his challenge to AJ Styles. Again, watch my reaction video. That I definitely had far more energy in that video than I do right now. And my voice was much less hoarse and everything else than it is now. So, amazing match. Amazing Royal Rumble match. And we're going to have a 5-star match at WrestleMania between AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. And if we get what I think is going to happen with the Chris Jericho still under contract, was in New Japan against Omega, I have a hunch they're going to return to favor at WrestleMania and give New Japan some exposure with Kenny Omega facing Jericho there. Don't know if that's going to happen. It's kind of a pipe dream of mine, but if that does happen, we can have two legit 5-star matches at WrestleMania. So again, amazing Rumble match. Loved it. Shane Helms showed up at one point as the Hurricane. That was amazing. Not a lot of old retro guys, so it was nice. We had Adam Cole was the other NXT guy that got called up, got a chance to showcase for a few minutes. Cien Almas was in the ring for quite a long time. So they did a good job on both the Rumbles showcasing NXT talent. So kudos. Congrats, Shinsuke. I'm happy for you. And they, as I said earlier, undid 8 to 10 months of horrible booking in one night in one match for Shinsuke. Thank you. And before I move on, there was one spot where Finn hit a coup de grace, however you pronounce it, on Finn, and it was kind of savage. And then Finn hit it on Shin, and then Cena eliminated Finn right after, so it didn't really matter. But those two went at it on and off, Finn Balor and Shinsuke, and it was awesome. I got to see a lot of that in NXT before they both got called up, and it was great to watch. So awesome. Only things I could say maybe that we were looking forward to was no Samoa Joe return, no Dean Ambrose return. So they're still hurt. I can't help that, but that's okay. Now, this was the match that I was the most disappointed with throughout the night. Even the one after this I was, but more because it was exactly what I predicted. Of course, what I'm talking about is the Raw Tag Team title match. Now, as I kind of brushed over here on the Rumble match, 3 of the 4 guys in the Tag Team title match fought in the Royal Rumble. Sheamus, Rollins, and Cesaro. Sheamus got eliminated really quick. Cesaro lasted a little bit, and Seth Rollins was in the final 7 guys before Roman threw him over the ropes. But Jason Jordan didn't fight. And when this match started very early on, and Jason Jordan got flung into the corner, hit his head, and was woozy and unable to compete. So they kind of went with the concussion storyline without it being a concussion, which is a little tricky nowadays with CTE and everything else. So they didn't quite go. They didn't call it a concussion or address it as one. They just said he got whacked in the head and he's dizzy. But there was a point where Seth was in the match about 90% of it, and he was holding his own, but because it's 2-on-1, he was getting his butt kicked on and off. Seth stumbles into the corner. Jason tags himself in, steps over the ropes, and starts doing his best Street Fighter 2 impersonation with the hand on his head and dizzy, and then tags himself out. Eventually, the Cesaro and Sheamus pin Seth to get the win. Again, this wasn't a bad match. It wasn't great. And it had the misfortune of going on after the Rumble when everybody in the crowd was spent. I always use this phrase, every pay-per-view has the piss break match. And unfortunately, this was your piss break match. I'm glad the Bar won because I didn't like seeing Rollins with the belt with a non-Shield member. It just felt awkward. And this will now allow the Jason Jordan heel turn to continue and move forward. I have a hunch tonight on Raw. As I'm recording as Raw's on, so I'm going to miss most of this here, so I'll catch it up here during the week. But I'm going to imagine tonight on Raw he's going to have a tantrum or something with his dad, and this will either forward an eventual fight between the two of them, which my hunch is Angle's either going to fight Triple H at Mania or Jason Jordan. But at some point, Angle's going to say no to Jason for something, and Jason's going to attack him and pull an emo teenager fit. Just my 2 cents on that. So again, this wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was an okay match. It was your unfortunate match that had to go on after the Men's Rumble. So they unfortunately had to deal with the crowd being exhausted. And we had one more match before the Women's Rumble. And this was the Universal title match between Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman, and Kane. There was a lot of awesome in this match, but this match sucked. And here's why it sucked. It was literally everything I predicted. I predicted Kane would get in the way and cost Braun the easy win. And in return, Brock would turn around and hit the F5 on Kane and get the pin on Kane. And that's exactly what happened. Everybody beat the snot out of each other. Early on in the match, Braun caught Brock with, needed Brock's face. I think Brock wasn't too happy about that and legit punched Braun in the face. Braun stumbled for a second but took the punch like a champ. I don't think this was a pulled punch. I don't think it was Brock at his fullest power. But this was definitely a pissed off Brock Lesnar and he punched him. Brock got power slammed through a table. Braun got F5 through an announcer's table and then another one thrown on top of him, which had one of the announcers, I think it was Michael Cole, chime in going, I think Braun is dead, which was hilarious. There was one botch in this match, and it happened with, there was 2 tables in the ring. Braun set them both up. One was the regular table, just set up normally, and the other one was in the corner. There was a spot where Kane was supposed to shove Braun through the table, screwed up, so Braun just threw himself through the table. And Lawler, without missing a beat, goes, I think he figured it was going to break sooner or later, so he just dove through it to brace for the pain himself. And just played it off that it's Braun, and Braun's crazy and dominant, so he doesn't care. So, well played. But what happened here towards the end, Braun hit Brock with a running power slam. Kane came in, knocked Braun out of the ring, and Kane turned around. Braun was trying to climb back in the ring. Kane turned around, Brock got up and threw Kane into Braun, knocked Braun off the ring apron. So he was out for a second. Kane bouncing off the ropes. Brock picks him up, hits the F5, and gets the pin. So not bad. It was a lot of fun, a lot of breaking things over each other, a lot of savagery. There was even a spot where Braun punched a chair out of, I think it was Kane's hand. So this was a lot of fun. And it's really setting up for when they eventually put the belt on Braun Strowman. It's going to be a huge moment. I wish they would get it over with already because Braun is over as can be. But Kane ate the pin. Braun looks strong. Brock looks strong. Braun looks stronger than Brock right now. Even at the end of the match, Brock's leaving. Braun gets back in the ring and starts shouting, "You didn't beat me." Which isn't going to matter because no matter how much nobody wants it, we're going to get Roman versus Brock at Mania. And the other rumor right now from floating around, and I don't know how true this is, so take it with a grain of salt, is that there's supposedly going to be a package or between Miz and Braun for the IC title at Mania. I could see this as a good test run for how the crowd reacts to Braun with a belt and how Braun reacts with the belt. Miz doesn't need a title to be relevant, neither does Braun, but for the love of God, it should be Braun and Brock at Mania in a Hell in a Cell, in a Boiler Room Brawl, whatever kind of match you want to make it. All things go. Last man standing. There you go. And it should be the final coming out party for Braun. Braun's out. Braun's over. Braun's established himself as a dominant monster. I think he should be the one to take down Brock to kind of set himself up as Brock 2.0. But no, we're going to have Roman. And how I say we're going to have Roman because he didn't win the Rumble. Elimination Chamber is a Raw pay-per-view. I don't think you're going to see a title match in that pay-per-view. And I think you're going to see is a number one contender match. And Roman will win that because Roman. But that was your Universal Championship match. Not as good as the AJ and Owens and Zayn. But for what it was fun. Just, it sucked because it was completely predictable, and that's the only thing that took away from it. That being said, we have the Women's Rumble. Stephanie McMahon came down to add her absolutely nothing to commentary other than corporate jargon and buzzwords, and to take credit for the idea. We had both women's champions come down just to watch. They didn't really add or take away anything from the announcing. So they're just there. Number 1 and 2 were Sasha and Becky. Sasha made it down to the final 4. Becky, of course not, because someone in WWE hates Becky Lynch. I don't know what she did to piss them off, but she's part of the 4 Horsewomen. I think you should give her a little more respect. And honestly, I think she's better than Sasha, but that's just me. But the Rumble match, my only complaint with the match, the way it flowed, there was too much of the women sliding out under the ring to recover. It felt like I was watching people play WWE 2K18, or even 2K17, they did this as well, where if you do a 4 or 6 man match and you beat the snot out of the player or you get the crap kicked out of you, your character rolls out of the ring and the roll recovery meter comes up. They didn't know what to do with some of the women when they weren't the front and center focal point, so there was a lot of them rolling out of the ring or getting knocked through the ropes instead of over the ropes and being outside for a while and popping back in when it was relevant or when it was their turn to do something. It was a little distracting at times, like to keep track of who was in and out of the ring. Other than that, the Rumble match was great. And the other thing, I'm not going to take credit for this, even though it didn't bother me, but I could see where it would bother some people. But Adam Pacitti on Cultaholic pointed this out on his review. You had a lot of nostalgia, a lot of the old school divas and lady wrestlers that were in this Rumble match, which we knew was going to happen because there's not 30 active female wrestlers on the roster. But it wasn't as impactful to many because you had the 25th anniversary Raw the week before, and all these people were on that. But it didn't bother me any because all these were the cream of the crop, with the exception of Vicky Guerrero in the women's division. You had Kelly, Michelle McCool, Jacqueline, Tori Wilson, Lita, and Lita was phenomenal throughout the whole thing. Beth Phoenix, and others. There was a ton of them. Vicky Guerrero came out and just did her excuse me thing, and then got tossed out of the ring by all the ladies in the ring. Lita was great. Beth Phoenix. There was an amazing spot throughout the match where Beth Phoenix and Nia Jax got into it. Nia looked amazing. It took 6 women to eliminate Nia. She's another one where she doesn't have to have the title to look strong. They just are doing a good job of making her look strong. Kairi Sane made her debut in the WWE in the Rumble match. My only complaint there was she was not in the match long enough, but the couple minutes she was in there, she looked phenomenal. She didn't really get beat up or thrown out of the ring. She was up on the top rope getting ready to do a move, and she got flung off. So it was even like a circumstantial or somebody capitalizing on the situation to eliminate her. So still, she didn't look bad and all of that. This match was good. Corey Graves was crushing on Mandy Rose, and the one funny line we got out of Stephanie McMahon was she was ragging on Corey for crushing on Mandy. Let's see, I covered that. When Vicky Guerrero came out, it cut to a guy in the crowd that had a WTF face, and it was perfect because that was pretty much the entire arena. Ember Moon came out, which then Asuka came out shortly after, and they got into it for a while. Ember Moon was rocking the bandages on her arm from her match the night before at TakeOver, which I didn't get a chance to see TakeOver, but from a little bit I did see, it looked good. Towards the end, you had both Bella Twins, and then Trish Stratus was the number 30. And everybody and their mother were staring at the ramp when they were counting down to number 30 because everybody thought it was going to be Ronda Rousey. She came into play afterwards. But the final four in this match were the Bella Twins, Sasha, and Asuka. And there was a nice psych out by the Bella Twins on Sasha after the three ganged up on Asuka. I don't know if Sasha has a name for the move, but it's the one where she lays her opponent out across the in the corner on the rope so she can drive her knees into their gut. Well, she went to jump up and get her leverage to slam down on Asuka, and she jumped up. The two Bella Twins flung her over the corner post out of the ring to eliminate her. Eventually, Asuka was taking turns beating the snot out of both Bella Twins. Brie and Asuka were towards the apron. Nikki kind of came to the save for Brie, knocking Asuka down, and then Nikki turned around and just clocked Brie and eliminated Brie. And then it was Nikki Bella and Asuka, and we knew damn well they weren't going to have Nikki Bella win, so it was just a matter of time. They both end up out in the apron, and Nikki Bella just punches Asuka. Asuka just flops down, and as she flops down, she kicks her legs out and just takes Nikki Bella's legs out, and Nikki Bella gets eliminated. So Asuka won your Women's Royal Rumble. Also, again, this was a great match. Not as good as the men's match. For tonight, I will say this was probably better than some of the previous Men's Rumble matches, because we've had some bad ones over the years. But even a bad one, it's still the Royal Rumble. They're still fun. But good job for the first time. What they need to do is keep this as part of the Royal Rumble experience. You can work on timing. The one thing they did different was the women were every 90 seconds instead of every 2 minutes, which made things flow a lot quicker. I kind of wish they would do that with the guys, and then maybe you can give more attention to the other matches on the show. I mean, it's the Royal Rumble. It is the thing you're there to see. But now, this I don't think was executed well, but I don't have a problem with it being done. Just you had your first ever winner. She's in the ring with the two champions, and you're asking her who she's going to face, and all of a sudden, Joan Jett hits, and here comes Ronda Rousey wearing a Rousey Piper shirt and the Rowdy Piper jacket. For those that are offended by this, she got permission from the Piper family, the son of Rowdy Piper, to do this. So it was done very respectfully and done really well. Rousey came out, walked around the ring, walked in the ring, went to shake Asuka's hand. Asuka slapped her hand away. They just stared each other down. Rousey pointed at the WrestleMania sign, pointed to herself, got out of the ring, walked over, and shook Stephanie McMahon's hand. Awesome. Everybody in the crowd was stoked that Ronda Rousey was there. As soon as that scene played out, I got a notification from ESPN on my phone that Rousey is now a full-time WWE employee. Good job, WWE, keeping all of this under wraps. To the point where Rousey on Saturday night was in Columbia filming a movie and put pictures, chartered a private jet to Philadelphia for Sunday, left her entourage at the location in Columbia, and then had her husband home in case somebody recognized her. They can switch things off. So they did a really good job hiding this to the last second. And then Triple H today announced don't know what that was. Announced that Ronda's been training for the last couple months. It's getting ready to wrestle. So awesome. The idea and most logical thing that's going to happen is Rousey's going to get her UFC counterparts, because if you don't know, in WCW you had Arn Anderson, Ric Flair, I think, and there's always interchangeable, but you had Flair, Anderson, I think Malenko, and somebody else that were the Four Horsemen. And Charlotte, Sasha, Becky, and Bayley were the Four Horsewomen in NXT. And you have the Four Horsewomen of UFC. So I feel like there's going to be a build-up to that match at Mania, which means Charlotte's going to be wrestling Ronda Rousey, and Asuka is going to just take the belt from Alexa Bliss. What I'm hoping they do, as much as I like Alexa, and I think it would just be a better match, is put the belt on Nia Jax between now and WrestleMania. Because her and Nia would have a hell of a match. They did in NXT. It would be great now. Don't want Rousey being the one to end the streak yet. Rousey needs to earn that. I know she's phenomenal. I love her in UFC. 10-second matches are always hilarious. Not when you work for a cable company and get phone calls with people demanding a refund because they somehow expect you to make the matches go longer because people are stupid. But if they build up Rousey correctly and keep Asuka going maybe till next Mania, you can have a champion versus champion, like a streak thing going, and that could be a cool match. But we'll see what happens. Again, I enjoyed the pay-per-view. The tag team matches, one was rushed, one just had the misfortune of being at the wrong time of the night. Really, the only thing I couldn't stand was during the first match, I got so distracted by Corey Graves and Byron Saxton bickering that I was getting infuriated. I can't stand the two of them to get together on the mic. And I think Kevin Dunn or somebody at the back end of that production might have picked up on that too, because Byron and Corey were getting into it where they were distracting. It got audibly distracting where it took you away from the match when you were watching at home. And all of a sudden, they both kind of shut up. And then right before the Rumble happened, Jerry Lawler came out and he hung out most of the night. So it was a lot of fun. So again, this was a really good pay-per-view. Again, I apologize for this being a little bit short. Working with what I can do here, and plus I had a much longer rambly one earlier today that didn't record properly, so I'm a little burnt out, but I wanted to get this done for you guys and gals. But as always, you've been watching The Last Word. I'm everybody's favorite pariah. I want to thank you again for watching, and I always have the last word. Like, comment, subscribe if you feel like it. Spread the word. Share me on your Twitter feeds to your friends. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you don't like. Any suggestions, recommendations. I do this for you guys. If you don't know, YouTube changed your formula again to monetize. You need 1,000 active subscribers and 4,000 viewed hours a month. So, yeah, and they don't give you any publicity to help grow. So, good luck there. So, the non-monetization express will carry on. I do this for fun. I do it for you guys and gals. I want to thank you all for tuning in today. Have a great night. Have a great week. Tune in to Raw. Tune in to SmackDown. They're always great after a major pay-per-view, i.e. one of the big four. We are now officially on the road to WrestleMania. This should be fun. I am looking forward to AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. Obviously. Peace out, everybody. Take it easy.